All right, to wrap up these examples, these last three examples are more conceptual than computational. It's just understanding how well you understood the concepts, and really what we're just going back to is going to be using these properties. In this first one, we have f of 3 equals negative 7. Well, if f has an inverse, what is f of negative 7? Well, we said that f of a equals b if and only if f inverse of b equals a. So we're switching the roles of a and b. So we get that f inverse of 7 has to be equal to 3. You can also take f inverse of both sides and get that. Number 11, if the domain of f is negative 3 infinity and the range of f is 0 infinity, what's the domain and range of f inverse? Well, the domain and range are just interchanged. So the domain of f inverse is equal to the range of f, which is 0 infinity, and the range of f inverse is the domain of f, which is negative 3, 0. Again, the inputs and outputs are just interchanged. All right. Now, what about this? These in example 12. Okay, these are points on the graph of f. We don't know anything about f inverse except we'll assume that it exists. So what is this? Well, these first two are just questions about f, and we can read them off just by knowing that this point is on the graph of f means that f inverse of negative 1 equals 0. And this point tells us that f of 1 is equal to 2. Okay, so these first two, this just comes from, this is just chapter 2 stuff. Now, f inverse of 1, what's that? Well, we want to find a point here where the x-coordinate or the y-coordinate is 1. And we can see that from here, because this tells us that f of 0 is 1, so f inverse of 1 is 0. F inverse of 2, well, we can see that basically f inverse of 2 we can get from here. F of 1 equals 2, so f inverse of 2 is 1. And what about f inverse of, what's f inverse of 0? We'll back up here. F of negative 1 equals 0, so f inverse of 0 has to be negative 1. Okay, we're just using this rule that f of a equals b if and only if f inverse of b equals a, and just using the fact that these are points, getting all this information about the values of f. Okay, so you'll see some of these examples on the homework and most likely on a quiz.